Hi, it's been a very exciting couple of weeks here. I got together with a good friend of mine to collaborate on a song. Hi, if we haven't met yet, my name's Stuart and I run Stuart Studios. I'm a producer, musician, and a mixing engineer. As I said, I've been collaborating with a good friend of mine. His name is Sylvain. He runs homestudiologic.com. Now, Sylvain lives in Canada, and as you know, I'm in the UK. It just blows my mind that with modern technology, we can actually do this. He wrote the lyrics, then I wrote the tune. I recorded the instrument tracks and sent them over to Sylvain. He added his vocal tracks, and then he's mixed the song. You should check his videos out on the mix. The links are in the description below. He's now sent the mix song back over to me to master it. Okay, so let's fire up Studio One and listen to the song for the first time together. All I've done is I've imported the song and I've got my defaults, but as you can see, they are all switched off. So my defaults are literally a gain knob, and then we've got an EQ that I use to find certain frequencies and just use it as like a notch EQ. We use a second EQ to deal with any low end on the sides, left and right. Then we use the fat channel. I only use the EQ on the fat channel just to give it a bit of structure, a bit of tone, bit of colour. A stereo image tool, make it a little bit wider if we need to. And then another final adjustment, gain knob. That's it. On the master output, I always have the SPL EQ. This is my go-to settings on this EQ when I'm mastering, and I adapt from there. I found that this works on 90% of the songs that I master. And then we have another EQ, which we're just rolling off low and top ends. We use multiband dynamics. All channels are set at a ratio of 2:1. There's no gain on them. And literally all they do is they grab peaks. That's it. I have the Soothe 2 plugin on there that I've got it set to its preset on balance to the Grammy Awards. Tweak it a little bit from there, but not much to be fair. The Fab Filter L2 for the limiter. We've also got in post, level meter is on the right hand side so I can keep an eye on it. And then tonal balance control, very, very good at giving you a generic idea of where the song's sitting in the spectrum. Before we master it, we're going to listen to it, do a loudness check to see where we're at before we start. Okay, minus 17.9, so we've got some headroom there, which is great. Thank you for that.
Some say there's someone in this
Okay, a couple of bits did jump out at me there. There's a bit of bass slap in verse 2 that the high pings on the bass are really loud, so we'll try and deal with that. Bit of dynamic EQ on that, maybe. I want to do something at the end here where I want to make the end explode a little bit more and maybe try and bring out the drums a little bit. We might have a go at using the isotope rebalancer for that, but we shall see. But the first thing to do is to tidy up start and ends on it, and I like to leave about half a second before the song comes in. Okay, so we've got a note there. Do we need that note there? See, I don't think we need that note there, so we're looking there really. So if we do that, we do that, and then do that. And then once you shorten it, don't forget to pull it back across so it lines up with the actual start of the track. Otherwise you'll still have the silence there. Okay, people sometimes ask me when it comes to the end of the song, how do I know how long to leave it, what's the fade out, etc. There's no fixed rule. Best thing to do, listen to it. Where does it feel like it should end to you? So I'm going to listen to this ending, and when I think it should stop, that's where the fade out will end. So I think it should be gone by about there. We're going to start the fade out just before that final hit, and we're going to curve it a little bit. And then we're actually going to leave a couple of seconds of just silence afterwards. Start and end sorted so we can move on. We've got that noise in verse 2, or not noise, we've got the volume level of that bass in verse 2. But before we deal with that, we're going to get the overall volume up to roughly where we want. And also I'm going to bring in the SPL EQ so that we can hear it. So I'm literally going to turn all of these on. So just for a refresher, we've got the SPL doing my default settings, my go-to settings. Pro EQ is just literally high pass and low pass filters, 40 hertz, 16K, and they're just rolling off. Multiband dynamics, all set to the same ratios. Soothe 2 is on. And then the fab filter with a 6 dB boost. And then what I like to do now, because we're getting the levels, let's do a loudness check on it again. It'll take a little bit longer this time because now we've got plugins it's running through. Okay, so before we were at 17.9 LUFS, I'm going for a target on this song of minus 11 LUFS. And it's shown as minus 12.7. So first thing we do, we're going to turn on our initial gain, and we're going to turn it up by, let's go try 2.5 dB, and then we'll scan it again. Okay, so it's just a little bit loud at the moment, so let's just turn it down a little bit and rescan it again. We're going to sort it out later on, so it doesn't have to be exact. Okay, so we're registering minus 11 exact on the meter. First thing I want to do, I want to introduce some dynamics into the song. At the moment, it just feels a little bit all one level. So we're going to use some volume automation on this. and we're going to make the choruses louder than the verses. Okay, so there's your first bump there. So we're going to start the fade up at the build and have it finish at the downbeat of the chorus. Rather than boost, we're going to take away. So let's try -2. Too much. Maybe a little bit early as well. Let's do it there instead. Okay, so we're going to try it at -0.5, so just a tiny amount. Okay, that feels good to me. And then we're going to come out of there and we're going to bring it back down. Out there. 0.5. So we're just bringing it back down to the same level as verse 1. And then we'll leave it up for the solo. And the down section, we're going to bring it down a fair amount, actually. Okay, -1.5. Yeah, that feels good. And then at the end of it, on the build up, we're actually going to go for our biggest boost yet. Start there. Let's try it 1 dB. Maybe just a little bit much. 0.8 maybe? Yeah, it might still be a bit much, maybe. Maybe it doesn't need a bigger boost. Maybe do that. So we're going to come back in at 0.5 dB. I suppose we were at 0, weren't we? Yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to come back in at 0, and then we're going to build it to 0.5 during that chorus, and then drop it down to 0.3. So it's subtle. It should make a nice dynamic build. Can actually go quieter there, actually. Let's go -2. Yeah, like that. Okay, so once we've done that, I'm turning that off, so that's locked in. Right, so just check the intro volume. What you want on a song, on the intro, once you get your levels right, you want it no less really than -4 on this meter, which is the K14 meter. And really, you want it somewhere between -4 and 0, really, depending on the song. If the song rocks out from the start, and then it should be up at sort of +4. But on a song like this, about -4 to 0 would be ideal. I'm wondering if those toms are maybe a little bit loud at that start there. Bring the master rebalance, put it up the top there. Put it on drums. Okay, so what I'm going to try and do here, the rack toms at the start there, just a little bit loud for the rest of the song. So we're going to see if we can automate the gain on this so that it brings it down by 4 dB at the start. And then as the drums come in, or the full song comes in, we're going to bring it back to 0, which later on I want to boost it a little bit. So it'll work quite well if I can do this. So I can. Yay. Okay, so now we're starting on -4, and it should go up to 0. Doesn't, but it should do. Okay. Right, so now it starts on -4, and it should go up to 0. And again, because we're doing this, we're going to bring, in the verse 1, we're going to bring the drums down just a little bit. Say -1.5. So not a lot. About 1.5. So.
Some say there's someone in this world looks for acts like
back up at 0. Okay, and at the end here, I wanted to boost the drums. Certainly that snare hit on that build up needs to be boosted, so we might be able to do that here. There, and then we're going to come back down. So I want to boost the overall drums by about 1.5 dB, but it ain't bloody working. I want that snare, I want that quite loud. So let's go 5 dB, so it sounds like too much. Too much. 2 dB. Overall, just a little bit much. Is this an ideal way of doing this? No, not really. In a perfect world, you would go back to the mix and do all this at the mixing stage, but it works really well. I find as long as you don't go mad with it, the master rebalance thing is a superb tool just to give you a little edge, just a little tweak. Right, so that's that all done. So now I want to concentrate before we go any further on that bass on verse 2. Especially there. So do you hear it jumping out? Narrow it down a little bit more maybe. You can even see the spectrum meter at around 3K, it seems to be jumping out. So we're going to add an EQ, use the Q4. Let's put it up there on, rename it as bass slap. And then we're going to do a 24 dB. What did I say about 3K, didn't I? Okay, so I'm going to go extreme, cutting it out. Let's see if that gets rid of it. Okay, so right, so we're just going to use a dynamic. I've got to think it might be higher than that, you know. I think it's out of 4K. It only slaps in that verse, so I'm actually going to automate that as well. I'll bring it in there. I think we need to do that second frequency as well. A real notch. There we no longer have the slap, so we can turn it back off again. There's a bass note there that jumps out. So I'm going to bring that EQ back in for that. Just there. So we can bring it in there. And we'll bring it straight back out again. Do you hear the difference there? So without it. And then bring that EQ in. It's quite a difference. Right, so now that we've done that, a couple of frequencies that I'm hearing that I want to deal with overall in the song. Okay, so yeah, it's just a couple of frequencies there. One at around about 5.3K and the other one at about 2.5K. Right, let's do some side EQ. Now on the side, all I'm going to do is put a high pass filter on, but just on the sides. So we're going to do that. We're going to do a 24 dB cut. We're going to put it as a side, and then we're going to solo it, and we're going to move it up until we can distinctly hear the low end. And that's it for the sides. So now we're into tone shaping. And this is where sometimes I will have balance control up at the same time. Make sure I'm not going too far out of the zones that I like to be in. And sort of pick a loud part of the song to do this. I'm quite happy with that. There's a tone on that lead guitar which we might be able to improve on. Happy with that. Okay, so let's bring in some stereo imaging. Okay, so let's turn it on. Give it a bit of space. So we're going to start off with, we won't go any wider than 2, maybe 3, but usually only about 2. What I also like to do is automate the stereo width. So this is going to be our widest point. But that down section, I'm actually going to make it narrow. Okay, so what are we going to do? We've got that section. Intro we're going to have as just as it was recorded. Verse 1 we're going to narrow it a little bit. Chorus back to as it was recorded. Verse 2 we'll leave it as it was. And we might boost the stereo width a bit for chorus 2. There, so we're going to go -2 there. And then we're going to build back up to the original width. Nice. And then chorus 2, we'll just boost it a little bit. So I'll give it 1. 1 there. And then we're going to bring it back down to the original width for the solo. And then, like I say, we're going to narrow it down for the down section and then make it super wide for the last chorus. Right, so now we've done all that, I'm just going to have a play around with the SPL for the overall EQ, see if we can make it sound any better, but I'm quite happy with that. And then we'll do a final level adjustment, and then we're going to listen to it start to finish. In a perfect world, I might have the vocals up just a little bit louder. Use a second master rebalance and boost the vocals just for that final chorus. Yeah, let's just boost it. Not even 3 dB, maybe just 2 dB. We're going to automate that. So we're just giving it just a tiny edge for that final chorus. Just bring out those vocals a bit more. Right, let's check the loudness. Have you got a song that needs to be mastered? I'd love to work with you. If so, jump over to my website, www.stuartstudios.com. There you'll find all the information about me and what I can offer you. I'd love to work together to get your song radio ready. So visit www.stuartstudios.com. So we're at -10.8 LUFS at the moment. So I'm going to bring the final adjustment in. And remember at the start I said I wanted -11. So I'm actually going to turn it down by 0.2. Now we check it again. Don't forget, if you want to see the mix of this song, jump over to Sylvain's YouTube channel, links below. There he's got, I think it's 7 or 8 parts to this mix where he dives really deep into it. And watch this space because we're going to do it the other way around. I'm going to mix it and then he's going to master it. And then we're going to compare the 2 different mixes to see how 2 different mix engineers mix the same song. Right, so now we're going to listen to it from start to finish. Okay, so I've done some notes. The only thing I had was that the drums, where I brought them up at the end, is now too loud. That was this one. So, which means, let's go 0.5. So we're just giving it a tiny boost now. So yeah, that's fine. But obviously that has changed the overall volume. Probably not by much, but it would have changed it a little bit. Maybe by 0.1, maybe, which is fine. It is 11.1, 11.2. That's fine. Sylvain has done such a good job at mixing this that I haven't had to do much on the mastering front at all, really. Don't forget to check out Sylvain at homestudiologic.com. -11 still. Happy days. Right, I think we're done. So let's have a listen. Let's do before and after. We'll just do the loud section. So before. And after. Okay, so I'm going to export this now, send it back over to Sylvain, make sure he's happy. Watch out for the release of the song. It's been such a fun project to work on. I really enjoyed myself doing this. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching both the mix from Sylvain and the mastering from myself. If you want to see us work together on future projects, please drop a comment below, let me know. Also, jump over to Sylvain and let him know.